July 17, 1900, 8 mature. For the first time in history, the presence of B-2 Spirit Line bomber, it is considered the most modern technological wonder, the most expensive on the planet. More than 35 past. It's still a Dodge plane, the world's only stealthy strategic bomb along with the US military across the fierce battlefields like Afghanistan, Iraq, or even South Africa. The lonely thoughts she begged in the air of America. There will never be a worthy opponent, but history has proven that there is no weapon that is invincible. Especially when the ruling dynasty, the sky of the B-2 Spirit is slowly collapsing by the emergence of Pakta, the stealthy bomber project, Russia's first new generation since the breakup of the Soviet Union. So what makes Maskerba so confident that Plakaria will take over the Sky Ghost B-2 Spirit? Don't take your eyes off the screen for the next 15 minutes. Military knowledge will be with you little by little deciphering this problem. Maybe you all know. Russia is on the list. Very few countries have developed stealth aircraft. Besides sharing. Exclusive position with Russia only the US and China. However, not all competitors about stealth technology. They're all at the same level. Russian stealth technology is considered by many to be lagging behind competitors when the stealth fighter came into service. The only Moskva. It is the 7th year of Su. Even, it's also considered a 5th-generation aircraft. It's probably the least stealthy right now. Of course, stealth is not a single technology. It's a series of technologies. Production method and cross-planting tactics. It's all combined to limit or prevent the detection of an aircraft flying over disputed territory in the 21st century. The stealth planes. Try to limit the detection. Radar in all directions. Occlude the enormous heat generated by the engine. It's easy to detect, and lock the target with infrared rays. At the same time, they need to have the ability to jam, or electronic warfare so as not to be retrograde in the age. The power on is not becoming the norm of war. Russia has been and is in a hurry. Strategic Bomber Museum. The first picture for myself. This is not a variant of the models that have been around since that time. The Soviet Union that it was developed completely new from the beginning to be able to compete with similar American lines. And this particular plane was named by Moskva is PAK Leather. When you look at the plane, Russia's new generation of strategic bombers, you'll feel a sense of familiarity. I seem to have seen it before. If you realize it, you're right. PAK use flying wing design similar to the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber and B-2 American riders with little protruding fins, and there's no angle to reflect the radar signal. Return to the enemy's receiver. The B-2 is considered one of the best stealth today. It's capable of bypassing low-frequency radars. By following this path, Pakta has got himself a solid start. However, Russia's stealth technology is limited, especially when it comes to mass-producing planes with very small errors. For a fighter jet, or stealth bombers, it can also cause serious errors in combat. The seams between the body plates may also be reflected in front of the enemy's radar. Even if you're not careful when opening the weapons bay, there's also the risk of generating feedback signals. Reveal the location of the plane. There has been such a case. That's when the stealth fighter. The first picture in America. F-7 sold out by a surface-to-air missile. It is considered backward of the Soviet Union. They may not be able to find all the missing ones. Their shortcomings in stealth technology, while the US prioritizes stealth first. In the development of these vehicles, then ivory. Just look at the invisibility feature. It's one of the important factors, and was deemed unworthy of priority than speed or maneuverability. It's also possible that the Pakta may not be completely invisible. This can predict when this plane will be use of long-range offensive weapons to perform the task and never leave the bubble protection of Russian air defense systems, Professor Vadim Kozulin at the Academy of Military Sciences, writing in the Russian Beyond. Currently, the Russian Air Force received the long-range missile KH-5, and the 01 has a maximum range of up to 5,000 kilometers. That's why at SAO Moskva, you don't necessarily need long-range bombers anymore. Now the strategic bomber, they can do their basic mission without leaving the Russian border and be safe under the protection of room systems. No, if so, the Gremlin. What to equip for the new bomber? It's very well protected like this, according to Russian information. Then Pakistan will be able to carry nuclear weapons, and usually as well as operations in conjunction with UAVs, and all these weapons will be contained inside. Among the types of hot goods available, there's going to be a Kinzo supersonic missile, the latest that Russia is developing and perfecting KH-47M2, Kinzo. It's a supersonic ballistic missile launched from the air with a claimed range of over 2,000 kilometers, and the maximum speed exceeds Mach 10. That's about 12,300 kilometers per hour. It can carry nuclear or conventional warheads with a maximum nuclear yield of about 500 kilotons. Strong. That's more than 30 times the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima at the end of World War II because the missile possesses fast speed and capability. High maneuverability when flying. The Russian military is confident that Kinzo is capable of defeating any air defense system that Washington used. Extremely reputable, notable national officials. The US also warned that air defense systems today can't intercept hypersonic weapons. The threat that the name this fire could inflict on American targets. On October 20, 2021, Russia announced the development of a weapon, launched from above. No other capable of fitting in the weapons bay of the Pakta. It's a long-range hypersonic KH-95. It's even going to be equipped with bombs to carry out classic bombing attacks into enemy territory. Specific features of the aircraft, it has not been revealed yet. However, the Piakata will have 2 engines. While the range doesn't need to continue, its fuel will probably reach 12,000 kilometers. That's more than a quarter of the Earth expected. The Akata will be capable of carrying loads of up to 30 tons. At the same time, almost make sure that the new spiritual child of the Tupolev design studio, it's going to be a transonic plane. Some people think that this is a step backwards for Russian aircraft manufacturing, while others believe that supersonic aircraft, there are also limitations. The same goes for a 60. Supersonic aircraft. It is only used in cases of extreme reluctance, like when you want to fast. Crossing the dangerous areas, operation of the motor in forced mode goes hand in hand with significantly excessive fuel consumption. In some cases can lead to critical situations. The plane is in danger of not returning. And as I said above, weakness of supersonic speed is that heat emissions have increased many times over infrared optics of enemy radar stations. It is able to recognize aircraft, has switched to supersonic mode from a distance of several hundred kilometers. As a result, the enemy's interceptor will take off. After just a few minutes, ready to knock out your supersonic airplane at any cost. The Project Pakta has been mentioned since the late 90s, and the funding for the program started in 2008. The Russian Defense Ministry has just approved the preliminary design and the expected mass production timeline. It will happen at the end of 2027. They planned that Pakta would become the rival of B-2 Spirit, and the planes will be built in 2000, not 129. I'm really excited when you imagine what the bombers were like. Russia's strategy can bring back a little bit with Pakta's rival. The B-2 was built by the United States at the end of the Cold War. It can fire weapons of mass destruction deep into the air, the enemy's strongest protection. This makes it a machine, scary war machine. It's taken from the birds with aerodynamic shapes, something that helped B-2 can penetrate deep into the enemy. It's not detected by the air defense system. The wings on all planes are flexible in a respectable way. The Americans succeeded when adding synthetic elements to the material wing fabrication, most notably carbon fiber. To make a fighter with high mechanical strength, the B-2 Spirit is made up of 80% synthetic matter. It's mostly carbon fiber. Inner frame is connected to the body and where the largest fuel tank is. It's made of titanium and aluminum. The composite material doesn't just make the B-2 lighter Spirit, it's also a very good radar absorber. Allowed, this bomber can be stealthy first enemy radar. However, in 2016, the Pentagon has proposed to develop a new generation of aircraft, B-2 Rider FAD, to replace. Let's talk about how dangerous these planes are. Maybe Military Watch magazine. The Americans have expressed their assertions on my behalf. That B-2 FAD promises to be a real work of art. It's not just going to be an anchor plane. Next generation strategic bomb, it's also the most dangerous bombing in the world. In mixed combat formations, it will be in the center, when using its equipment to issue orders and only target market. For frontline fighters, artificial intelligence along with high-powered computers, it's going to allow the B-2s to process huge amounts of data and pre-identify any potential threats, while the Pakta of Russia, it's not even out of the model phase by the time 9/2021 President Trump government has produced 5 prototype B-2 Rider at the Pandal facility, Bang Slot Fang NHA. The first ones are expected. It will be operational in 2025. And this has maintained the leading position of Harmony. In the race to build the new generation stealth bomber, another opponent of Pakta is the stealthy H-Bomber 20 of China, Air Force of the country billion. This guy announced the Tian stealth bomber project, H-20 in year 2016, and it's ready to go in 2 to 3 years. They've started testing the H-20 from 8th to 2nd June 2021 at a dry airbase south of the God Power Autonomous Region. How disputed areas on the border with India, over about 250 to 400 kilometers. Beijing has got the bombers. They are capable of carrying out attacks across East and South Asia, as well as the Western Pacific. H-6K, H-6N, and H-6J bombers, distant descendants of the Tu-60 LISO. Everything can be done. This mission from my base. To do this, they've got to have a lot of supersonic cruise missiles, supersound to attack warships and ground targets more likely. They can also be armed with ballistic missiles launched from the air. Can say the Tian H-20 project costs a lot of Chinese money. But this is considered a CARD, strategic nuclear deterrent. It is also a tool to demonstrate Beijing's global power, in the same way that Russia and the United States. He's using his bomber, but say whatever you want. The strategic bombers. Stealthy mission to fly deep into leadership enemy where their goals are strategic in nature, or high tactics and capable of destroying the defense potential of a hostile country. At the basic level with such a philosophy, Pakistan is the biggest threat to the US. In any Russian defense program, we have to wait to see the plane. How stealthy is this bomb? And they're even concerned that it probably only exists on the drawings. It's just design. No matter what, the race between the US and Russia, it promises to be tough. And this is in the field of building stealth aircraft. Like that, a journey to discover the museum bomber, the new Pakta is over material that this new face will be out on time, and there's performances, as advertised or not. Please share. My prediction is down below, to discuss with everyone. Don't forget to press the subscribe button and the notification bell to accompany with me on the next exciting journey.